Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, your cosmic GPS for life, love, and everything written in the stars. We're Tali and Ophira Edut, the AstroTwins, here to decode the astrology of the moment and help you navigate your destiny like a pro. Hey everyone, it is week of August 11th to 17th, and boy do we have some good news for you. As of 3:30 a.m. on Monday, in the wee hours of Monday morning, Mercury Retrograde is over. 3:30 a.m. Eastern time, that is. So, this one's been a doozy. It had a lot of fun reunions for us personally, but we're going to do our little review of Mercury Retrograde and all the things it brought. We also have a very special conjunction, Venus and Jupiter, the benefics, the planets known for their very positive and uplifting effect. Also included in that this year is Sirius. So if you're with us on our Lionsgate ritual on Friday, 8/8, you got a little earful of this, but we'll be talking about that today too. And wrap it all up with a Taurus quarter moon, grounding, sensual, slow. I could use some of that right now.
Yeah, that Aquarius full moon last night was so bold. It was like, whoa, I don't know if you guys felt it, but like here in New York, it was like bright red when it rose and really low and huge. It was amazing.
Ooh.
You know, it awakened even more of the radical parts of me. I was feeling very Aquarian. Just Aquarius is a sign of humanity. And you know, some of you guys were on our Lionsgate Astro Tarot ritual on 8/8 on Friday night. It was so powerful with people from all over the world coming together to really just create a container and sort of a collective prayer for humanity and peace and togetherness. And no, that's not a spiritual bypass. That is, at this point, I mean, with the Mercury retrograde in Leo. Leo is a sign of courage and leadership. And the leadership of this world has frankly been a horror show. And a lot of you guys might also be feeling helpless about that. And at times like that, I mean, yes, we can protest and do all kinds of things, but bringing our energy together to create unity, I believe, sends out a message into the universe. And we did that. You can still watch the replay if you didn't get to be part of it or you want to see it again.
astrostyle.com/lion25, right?
Lion25, yes. And we'll drop that link for you. Get your tarot cards out or pull them virtually on our site. And
we channeled an 8-card tarot spread for it that actually takes you through the astrology of the Lionsgate. I actually spent the Aquarius full moon with Mother Mayhem, aka Lady Gaga. She played 3 sold-out shows in Seattle, and I was at the 3rd one. It was so Mercury retrograde. Not that she had any technical difficulties. It was a flawless show, but she gave a kind of a really heartfelt, you could feel her Scorpio moon. She's an Aries with a Scorpio moon, like tribute to her, you know, her fans, and was like, a lot of you have been with me for nearly 20 years. And that's just so crazy. I remember when her first album came out because a guy that I went to Burning Man with for like my very first year, you know, he was like, do you know Lady Gaga? Yeah, he was from South Africa.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, but he had shot her album cover, and I was like, oh, no. But here we are. That was nearly 20 years ago. It was 18 years ago. Kind of crazy to see, you know, it's just like there are, you know, Mercury retrograde really shows who the timeless people are out there who will make it through. Or Pamela Anderson, you know, this Mercury retrograde was in Leo. So Leo's a sign of celebrities, power, the elite. I feel like we had more than the usual amount of celebrity WTF like moments. I mean, we wrote about this in L, but the odd celebrity couplings, but some of them have been confirmed now. Pamela Anderson, a Cancer, and Liam Neeson, a Gemini, are confirmed together. He's a Sag rising and she's a Gemini rising. So they have opposite rising signs, which is always a real, that can either be a clash or a real magnetic attraction. She has an Aries moon and forgot what his moon is, but it's not. It's something kind of like, oh, well, that's interesting.
Pisces or something, maybe. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I had it dialed
Aquarius.
in, but anyways, they're Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry. What
That one
please.
is just like, ew.
Scorpio,
Why?
Capricorn, Orlando Bloom, and Justin Trudeau are Capricorns, like pop star politician vibe. Like, is he trying to be the
I think,
next?
yeah.
I don't know
I
what.
think the worst celebrity moments were Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle Good Genes ad. And then she's a Virgo, and South Node in Virgo was coming for her. And then
Yeah.
another Virgo, Dr. Phil, trying to defend her on Bill Maher and say, I'm going to go buy American Eagle jeans for every woman I know, which is so cringe and creepy and
Please
ew.
don't. Please
Just,
don't buy anyone American Eagle. Like, don't buy a single woman a pair of jeans of any brand, Dr. Phil.
ugh.
He's just
Yeah.
gone. He is so
He's there's so
lost.
many, yeah, him and Dr. Drew, two Virgo quote unquote doctors who are just, yeah, not happening anymore. Speaking of
Red
retrograde,
pill.
going back to the 90s when we used to watch their shows, but
I know.
who they've become, they have
No
not aged
mas.
well in their politics or anything
And I
else.
think we talked about And Just Like That getting canceled. And then I saw
We
that
did.
this week's episode was so cringe. Oh my, I was like, oh, there's two more episodes. I was like, what was that? It like didn't even have a plot. It was like somebody was found out that they were getting canceled and the writers were like, we're just gonna
F
do like the
this.
absolutely
We're gonna
minimum.
phone this in.
I
But
was like, what am I
it's like
even
it almost
seeing
makes me
here?
feel like how freaking ageist the world is. Like there are a lot of rich plots you could have with women. I mean, today I just read something in the New York Times about like a kind of a commune compound of women in their 60s called Birdie Town or something, like these women who are like, I don't want to live with a man ever again. So we're just going to live together with women and dogs for the rest of our lives. And I was like, that is so about to be
That's
everywhere.
a
It's like,
really good segue into the dog star Sirius and the conjunction of
well, I will
Venus
say this
Jupiter.
though, before we do that, like, because I'm still on my ageism soapbox
Please,
here.
please don't let me stop you.
Um, I think the writers were too lazy to come up with a plot line that women the age of Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte would actually live because they tried to make it about these women chasing men or women or just romantic and sexual plot lines. And I'm not saying women in their 50s and 60s don't care about that stuff because we do, but it's just like, they were lazy. They were sloppy.
How can you write an entire novel and just call the main character the woman? The
Ew.
woman thought this, the woman.
Lazy,
So it
lazy.
was lazy. It was like, the ending of A Handmaid's Tale too really pissed me off. It was just like, and it felt like they were kind of trying to like wrap it all up with this like happy ending bow a little. And I was like, oh my God, gag.
You
It
know, I'm
was
just going to keep sticking with The Summer I Turned Pretty because I just expect these. You know, I'm just going for the YA novel because that's where that shit belongs, you know?
I
Like, if
was
I'm going to
yeah.
go Mercury Retrograde and Leo back to childhood romance, like, let's just watch a couple of 21-year-olds
I keep
frolic about.
finding out friends are just, have been watching it for years too. And yeah, I after and just like that, like I guess I watched the full Sex and the City series last year to cleanse myself after the hate watching of And Just Like That, because I want them back. But the very last episode came, and it was like when Smith came home to Samantha from the movie set, and she was like, "You have shown me more love than any man ever has." And she was like going through her chemo, but it was like, you could actually connect to that. It wasn't,
Sorry, my cynicism. Okay, Mercury is retrograde in Leo still at this recording.
Is there a spot in Birdie Town for Ovi? Because I think she's moving there. Yeah.
A town's not big enough.
I mean, it was just like,
a state.
My point was that it actually created a feeling of like, like, aw, Samantha, where like, I just cannot even like.
Samantha's, if anyone deserved the love of a man, you know why? Because she was a sovereign woman. So she could handle it. Like, great. The sovereign woman got some love. I love that storyline. I take it back. Retrograde redaction. But without Samantha, no, it's just not. It's just not. And
you're right. It is a laziness about women's lives and women's like, stories, and there could have been so much about Carrie's
women
careers,
and
a
quote unquote
podcaster.
midlife stories. Like there's not that much. There is laziness in general about women's stories, but it's just women of a certain age in our stories. It's like that's where the laziness
Carrie
is.
was married into money. Miranda hated her job as a lawyer. Charlotte is like an Upper East Side wife. Lisa, Todd Wexley is has a passion project, a vanity project of a film that she does because she has a rich husband. And then there's Seema, who is like
just Samantha,
ridiculously like
watered down,
but just like, oh, I'm a real estate agent and I have to have a driver, oh darling. And it's just like,
just a cutthroat. Like they're all stereotypes.
Oh no. Anyways,
why I'm ranting about this, but you know what?
Because women's lives are so much more interesting than that. And it's like we're ranting in the name of Sirius, Venus, and Jupiter.
Yeah, you're right.
We're meeting at 14 degrees Cancer on Tuesday. So let's break that down. Cancer is, and Pamela Anderson is a Cancer that I'm looking towards for like, she is, our queen right now. I love it. But, so Venus and Jupiter only meet up once a year, and they are known as the benefics. They were the planets, Benefic, benefic. I don't know. My Michigan way of saying it always comes out. But they, Venus is love and peace and harmony, and Jupiter is global expansion and good fortune and philosophies and faith. So when they meet up, and they haven't met up in Cancer in over a decade, since 2013 and 2014. Now, that alone is a big deal right there, that they're, meeting up in Cancer. They're meeting up at 14 degrees Cancer. But they are also at the same degree as Sirius, which is a fixed star. So fixed stars are, they move so slowly from our vantage point. There's a number of them that they remain at a zodiac degree for a long, long time. Sirius is at 14 degrees Cancer from 2020 all the way till 2070. And Sirius is known as the spiritual sun. And it's the dog star, which we also love.
It's rising, corresponded with the flooding of the Nile. So, it's supposed to bring that kind of abundance, and it actually means glowing. Sirius is a binary star. It's actually two stars, but it looks like one super bright one. So as Venus, the planet of love and peace, Jupiter, the global planet, and Sirius, the spiritual sun, all connect on August 12th, which funny enough happens to be our parents' wedding anniversary.
Oh, yeah. At 14 degrees Cancer.
I mean, that's so ultra rare. It's only every 12 years that Venus and Jupiter connect, and it's not even remotely guaranteed it would be at 14 degrees. So the fact that this year, right now, they would connect with Sirius feels really meaningful and powerful and like an opportunity. So instead of ranting about the horrible leadership on this planet, we're going to talk about the hope that creates for you, for us. How can we bring a new vision for leadership onto this planet?
I mean, how's, I really think there's a new paradigm coming. Like, women will have to imagine it, I think, but it really feels like that wants to come through the feminine. And that doesn't mean men can't be part of it, but of course not. Or, we all exist here together. But what we've been watching.
I really wish, by the way, I told you I was radicalized by the Aquarius full moon. So indulge me this week, friends. I really wish that men would correct themselves and go, it doesn't mean that women can't be part of it when they sit, but
right.
So here's a little, that's, men, if you're listening, please make sure that there's a seat at the table for us too, if you happen to be at it. So,
yeah. Or a few seats or an equal number.
Many seats. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's what we've seen during Mercury retrograde, though, in Leo is kind of an example of the male lion kind of lounging around. Aren't the female lions the ones that go out to hunt? I don't know.
Yeah, the male lion sleeps 20 hours a day and the female lions go and take care of business. So I keep thinking about the Apple CEO Tim Cook giving a gold brick to Donald Trump during Mercury retrograde in Leo too, which is related to gold.
Tim Cook is a Scorpio. Bad move.
Ooh. He has a Bill Gates-esque look to him. Who's also a Scorpio.
He does, yeah.
No kissing the rings, Scorpios.
So
that's
many
not
people
are.
That's what I really feel like has happened during this Mercury retrograde. Like, there is this sort of power outage going on. There's a feeling of powerlessness that I think, not true with the Texas Democrats who, left the state and finally took some social action there. And there's plenty of people who are, but it feels like this Mercury retrograde, like there's just kind of this we're just tired of fighting. I just want to focus on what makes me feel good. And sometimes you need a break, it's like that is the strategy that I've heard, Donald Trump has used in business. Just wear people down, make things so complicated that they just go away and stop fighting.
The best Mercury retrograde comeback in the entertainment industry, though, in Leo was South Park. So that was a gift. A gift from Mercury that we didn't even know how badly we needed it. So, yeah. I
think that there has been, it just feels like the media has skewed people's perception of what's going on. It's like, this is becoming too much, too hard, too much to fight. Every day there's a new story, a new tragedy, a new
tariff, a new this,
it's like a new hopelessness. Oh, no one can afford to buy anything anymore. We're not going to have Medicaid. We're not going to be, it's like, so what's going to happen is that human beings, and that's why I'm saying women may develop our own birdie land solution for things, and there will be women and men and all genders developing new things too. But it's like, this is just like, wow, I don't know, maybe people aren't going to pay their taxes or something. There's going to be different ways that people, I think, are going to revolt. And
I keep thinking about that book by Octavia Butler, Parable of the Sower, who she's a science fiction writer, African-American woman, a Cancer. And and it's so wildly apocalyptic. It takes place in 2025 after a president who's named something similar to Donald Trump came into power, and just all this redistricting and everything too. It's pretty, I mean, I haven't been able to finish listening to it because it's so like, oh my God, this is a little too real, but not, but also like, I will be prayers up to Sirius, Venus and Jupiter. That is not the world I want to move into. So I feel like, we need to start imagining and envisioning the world we want to live in, because we're getting all the pictures of what we don't. And, just what's happening in Israel right now. Like, Israelis are protesting en masse. Finally, even the military heads are not agreeing with Netanyahu. It's just, this is not it. This is not what we need in this world. It's out of control. And
I think Mercury retrograde kind of muted some voices a little bit where, and I think as Mercury turns direct, people's roars will be restored, if you will, like that, like we just can't stop, like, and it's not like you have to fight either, but like you would start to believe that everybody wanted to be a trad wife right now, and that, the majority of Americans are a lot,
I started to see people actually standing up to, since July 18th. I think people like Jon Stewart had this amazing Palestinian poet on. And while people criticized him for maybe not doing some of his own self-education beforehand, I mean, some of the questions he asked this man who grew up in Gaza his entire life, he could have looked up in a history book. So, but he also was like really honest about, growing up Jewish and hearing a different narrative, and how his eyes were being opened to like something that was not the story that he had been taught. And, criticize him or not, but the fact that he was willing to do that and, had this really, I thought, moving conversation, honest, raw. I thought that it was really powerful, and I was proud of him as a fellow Jew for actually taking that risk and, going there. And so those were some of the things that started to happen. I think the questioning of the leadership.
We've talked about,
went in both extremes.
Yeah, we've talked about our own history before, which is now I'm just so grateful for. But, we were made in Israel. Our parents met at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, but our mom came to Detroit when she was 7 months pregnant with us. I think our dad came like a few days before we were born.
3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks before we were born, and didn't even
never
speak
went back.
English. Yeah, they never went back, but we grew up in the Detroit area, and when we moved into we lived with our grandparents. Our dad was learning English from Sesame Street, no joke. And our birth in the 70s dovetailed with the Iran-Iraq war. And so there was a whole migration from the Arab world into Detroit. And it's become one of the biggest Arab populations in the United States.
Like the Middle East to the Midwest.
Yeah. So there's all these like, grocery stores that sold the food that our father grew up eating in Israel and our elementary school. So we moved into our own house in a working class neighborhood. There weren't hardly any other Jewish kids there. And we had way more friends who were Chaldean, which were the Christian Iraqi population that came to Detroit. And but there were Lebanese restaurants, but that was, food was kind of the but
food and
school,
life. Everybody was
food,
living the
Oak Park
same kind
pool,
of
where
life.
we were
Yeah, we
swimming together, Girl Scouts together. And so
riding our bikes around. Yeah, so for us, that was very.
that was happening. And at the same time that in Israel, there was the Intifada of the 80s, which, the way we heard it was, scary. There were suicide bombings, there were so it was like all this like parallel tracks that made us just realize like you cannot judge people based on where they're from and the political leaders of where they're from. And hello, we don't want to be judged as Americans by Trump.
I actually found a college paper that I wrote in December 11th, 1992. I just pulled it out. It's a comparison of Zionism, Pan-Africanism, and manifest destiny, and these attempts by oppressed or marginalized groups to create nation states, looking at Liberia and when it splintered. And so I'm making my way through it because I did a lot of
I
research.
remember when you did that. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I'll be sharing some excerpts of it, but I did a lot of research on it in my early University of Michigan college days. And I felt that was one of my Mercury retrograde things that I did, was pull that paper out.
And one of the hardest things that human beings can do is start new conversations, but it's also one of the most Zionism, Pan-Africanism, and manifest destiny were new conversations in their times, but they didn't end up. They were also existing inside, and against and alongside other people's conversations. And it's like we are, we are just living in conversations. We did a course years ago, which I love, the wisdom course through Landmark. And it was like, who you are is a network of conversations. That was one of the first things they taught us, that your existence. They were very philosophical, lofty classes. So the Sages and us absolutely loved them. But the network of conversations going on around you, what people are talking about, shapes your perspective. And that's what I'm really seeing. Like, it's my news feed is probably different than your news feed, and our news feed and algorithms are now the network of conversations. And if we're not out there talking and communing with people in real time, then it's so easy to be manipulated by whatever your algorithm is serving. Now, I'm not saying anything radical. We all know that, but I'm feeling another thing about this Venus and Jupiter and Sirius connection in Cancer. I think of Cancer as kind of gathering around the family table, those more in-person, safe community interactions where, like, if we're not actually dialoguing, and I think that's why people do like podcasts so much right now, like, it's like, wow, you're actually hearing human beings having a conversation. But I don't know if we've recovered since the pandemic, like socially, like people just are hesitant. I was talking about this with friends the other day. We're like hesitant to go out as much as we used to. Like, it's just that little like, I don't know, maybe I'll just stay in. And not that there's anything wrong with staying in either. I
think we maybe went out a little too much before the pandemic. Yeah. Sometimes I was like, I could never be home. Jupiter and Venus and Cancer really is about connecting, finding family with anyone, your global family, friendship and peace. And again, I don't care if people think that's kumbaya. The Aquarius full moon, it's not just radicalized me, but it's, it's reminded me of the best of the age of Aquarius and Aquarius energy, which is about togetherness, unity that honors differences and individuality. Aquarius is the paradox. It's like the sign of individuality and groups. So a group doesn't have to be homogenous.
And I think that's maybe where women are the leaders here, because our nature is to be more herd mentality than, it's just, if we're talking pure evolution here,
Yeah.
it's like, but again, any gender is capable of, we've got Christy
I've
Nome
been
as a super villain.
Pam Bondi. I know.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed in what some women have chosen to do
And
with
Stephen
power.
Miller's wife. She's the
There's so many
worst.
sisters who are not sisters, and it's so heartbreaking. But we talked about this on the Lion's Gate that 8 is the number of power, and power is a spectrum. You can use it for good or evil. You can try to find proximity to power. People like Candace Owens too. It's like there are, just even every time I just like dip onto Twitter, it's it's just like, oh God, what has happened to women? They've adopted this male ego swagger. Like,
I know. It's like, what is going on? It's like, I know, but again,
never before.
That's where new conversations are needed, or in-person conversations. I don't know, whatever it is, Uranus and Gemini, it's really creating this crazy Tower of Babel effect, and all the gerrymandering and things. Like, Gemini rules our local districts, our communication, our languages, our community interactions, and the chaos planet has arrived there. So I don't think we're going to.
Speaking of those new conversations, I was just thinking how happy I was that we got to start our summer in June at Summit Detroit, hearing all those new conversations. And I'm going to ask you a favor, because we have applied to speak at South by Southwest, which is another festival gathering. Some of you guys have heard of it, some haven't, but it's every March in Austin, Texas. And it's where so many of the new conversations for hope and possibility on the planet take place. So we're going to drop a link right between now and August 24th. They allow community voting. So we submitted to do a workshop, Design Your Personal Brand with Astrology, which is really about designing your authentic imprint and voice for the world. So we would love and appreciate if you would vote. You do have to log in. It takes a couple minutes. I don't think it means anything. You just have to create a login so you can tap the heart by our panel. We'll drop the link, but we would be so appreciative if you would vote for us and let the South by Southwest jurors know that you're interested and the world is interested in hearing the message that we'll bring there.
I doubt they've ever had an astrology talk there before.
We end up often being the first astrology talks at some of these.
We're the first Summit
Certainly
astrology.
Not the last.
You were the first one at Milken too.
Fast Company Innovation Festival. And may it open the door for more of these types of conversations.
As you named it, astrology is spiritual technology. That's how we like to use it. It is a tool. It's a technology that can be used. Like, hey, Mercury going direct. It'll be direct in Leo until September 2nd. And I actually think
we do have the retroshade, though.
The retroshade till August 25th. But that day Venus goes into Leo. The retroshade is the shadow. So what?
It's the backdraft. It's like the fumes that the old engine leaves behind as Mercury kind of corrects course. I talk about it like, let's say you left your house, walked half a block, and then realized you forgot your cell phone. You have to walk all the way back. That's how we measure Mercury's progression. So you progress by leaving the house, then Mercury, when it's retrograde, you walk back to your house. And that's the whole retrograde period. But then when Mercury goes direct, you leave the house again and you have to re-walk all the steps that you retraced. That's the retroshade, the shadow period, when you're like, okay, let's go back. So we may see like echoes of the days of Mercury retrograde, though fainter. Let's think of it as an opportunity, though, to finish what maybe got messed up or throttled during that period. It's a reboot. And then on August 25th, we're in the clear. We're back to where we were when we realized we forgot the phone or the keys and turned around, and we're back fully on our destination again. I have an oracle deck, an old or ascended masters from Doreen Virtue when she was before she became like a born again Christian and renounced all of her angel work. Hashtag Taurus, I think.
Yeah.
But she, one of the ones I just pulled was find the blessing in your current situation. And I think that applies to the retroshade. What do you get to approach again with newfound wisdom and insight and perspective? Let's talk about the ground. It's a donut. Let's talk about the grounding energy. We will hopefully consider a gift this Saturday, the quarter moon in Taurus. So we had the radicalizing, unifying Aquarius full moon on August 9th on Saturday. And the next Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 16th, we have the Taurus quarter moon. It's the midpoint between the Virgo new moon, which is a week later. And we've got two of those this year.
This is the Virgo.
Got a double header. So Virgo new moon number 1.
On August 23rd. And then the September 21st one is a solar eclipse in Virgo.
Yeah,
so if you're Virgo, you got a lot of Virgos out there have a lot of new energy. That new moon's going to be a big deal for all of us, because whatever seeds you plant, and you want to plant them with service and pragmatic energy, will get like a echo and a reverb a month later. But we'll talk about that next week.
But the Taurus quarter moons are already kind of grounding midpoints. So between a full moon and a new moon, the waning quarter moon is really about like, okay, what was illuminated in the Aquarius full moon this past weekend? A lot of big ideas, a lot of excitement, but Aquarius is very futuristic and Taurus is about the now. So some of it may or may not be ready to be fully rolled out yet. Like, what can be made into something tangible and concrete now? And what should you maybe put in the drawer? Do not throw it away, please. Like, hang on to all those Aquarius full moon great ideas, but maybe you start with one step. Or start with an action. Taurus is about, ideas into actions.
Taurus also rules money and your values, and, where you want to put your time and energy and work. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs here in our audience, astropreneurs, as we like to call you. And we are going to be bringing our astropreneurs fall mastermind program back starting this September 13th. And we announced it on the Lionsgate ritual. But Ophi, do you want to tell people about it?
Yeah, I mean, more than ever, I think this is a time when everything is so uncertain, but the creator economy, as they call it, is booming and on the rise. AI is on the rise, everything else. And it's a time of innovation. That's what we see ahead. We revealed the theme for next year on our Lionsgate webinar. So make sure you catch that by August 12th. But let's just say it has a lot to do with self-expression and freedom. So that's been one of the things that we have worked really hard to keep for ourselves over the last 25 plus years in our career. And along the way, we really learned many, many tricks of the trade that we have been teaching to mystics on a mission, healers, creators, creatives, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. It doesn't matter what you do. You don't have to be
intrapreneurs, which are people who are like working more entrepreneurially, but within a business, within
people who have day jobs that pay the bills, but also are wanting to do something meaningful on the side that maybe at some point can become a full-time, or they can change and find a little more freedom. So we have a whole program that we've been teaching in various forms for the last decade. And we're bringing it out as a 10-week mastermind, September 13th to November 15th, Astropreneurs. So if you go to astrostyle.com/astropreneurs, we would love to have you check it out and join us for learning. I mean, we're going to do things very practical, very tangible. We're going to show you how to connect with the people that really need and want what your unique gifts are for the world.
We call them your kindred spirit customer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about your social media, your messaging, how you introduce yourself. And all of that is going to be
pricing,
tied in,
offerings,
and what makes it astropreneurial is that we use your birth chart as a foundation so that when you're designing your offerings or your kindred spirit customer or deciding should I open a store or go online or that you're doing it in tune with your unique astrological makeup, so you're making decisions that are right for you, not for what everyone else thinks that you should do.
We're using our framework, the I Am system, that we rolled out in the Astrology Advantage book that came out last summer, almost a year ago, August 27th, 2024. And the paperback just came out. So we'll be following that.
And our students get amazing results. We've
had people who sold their businesses, got investment, finally launched their website or their brand or their business. Check out astrostyle.com/astropreneurs. And before we go, one last invitation to catch our Lionsgate Tarot ritual. The replay will be up till August 12th. Or if you were on there, we had a special offer. Our 2026 horoscope book, we have opened early bird pre-ordering earlier than ever, also until August 12th. We have a special manifestation bundle, a special price to pre-order your book.
And the reason we did this is because we send out books first come, first serve, and we get flooded with orders in October, November, September even. So we wanted to give our, inner circle of people a chance to make sure they get theirs shipped out first when we start doing that in November. But it's also an incredible offer because what you get is one big book, the big book with all 12 signs, a single sign book that we recommend getting for your sun sign that has calendar pages that you can write in. Some people like for their rising sign. We recommend you just get your sun sign for the single sign book, and then the big book you can read your rising sign. You also get our La Luna tote, which is a really awesome sturdy tote with a water bottle pocket. And it was one that we debuted at Detroit Book Fest. And the crystal of the year, the carnelian, plus all the bonuses, a PDF of the big book, a ticket to our webinar that we do in January every year, our Planet by the Planets webinar.
The digital hotspots calendar. So, and anything else we decide to throw in between now and whenever, we decide to stop giving them. So yeah, definitely grab that if you can. We have a limited number. Get it by August 12th.
And it's $88 for that. Yeah. $88 bundle, and it's a value.
More than 60 or 70% off what it would normally cost.
Yeah. Lots of things to move ahead with. Monday's Mercury direct energy tunes us back into progress and hopefully
courage and hopefully heart-centered leadership.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We'll be back next week with more, and follow us on Instagram at AstroTwins. In the meanwhile, we're posting every day there, so we'll see you there.
Thanks for tuning in to AstroTwins Radio. If today's episode gave you an aha moment, we'd be over the moon if you left us a 5-star review. It helps fellow astrology lovers find us. And make sure to hit subscribe and follow us on iTunes and Spotify so you never miss an episode. Want the full visual experience? You can also watch the video version on our YouTube at AstroTwins-TV. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at AstroTwins and head over to astrostyle.com to read your free daily, weekly, and monthly horoscope that we write for you with love. Until next time, move with intention and let the universe meet you there.